and only Mick Foley, everybody! Hi, Mick.
Hello.
Meet again.
It's nice to be here. Everybody having fun? Thank you. Should we talk about how we know each other?
Sure, we absolutely can.
Okay, go ahead.
So I met Mick about, 10 years ago now, and about 5.5 years ago, Mick was wonderful enough to officiate my wedding to my now husband. So...
And because of Heather, I get recognized in places where I otherwise would not have been recognized, because when I see someone who looks at me, there's a certain look that women of a certain age get when they know me from somewhere, but they're not sure where it is, and I look at them and I go, say yes to the dress. So Heather had me meet her. She was in New York City. She had me meet her to help pick out her wedding dress, because who other than a guy with no fashion sense to help you make the most important fashion choice. And anyone here seen Say Yes to the Dress?
It's okay if you haven't.
It's a fun show. I'd never seen it, but wrestling, I think, prepares you for a lot of things in life. And as soon as I saw Randy, I was like, oh, yeah, I know how to play off Randy. And we had this great scene where I brought the fanny pack. I did not say anything. I didn't say, go ahead and ask me what's in the fanny pack. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I hope they ask me what's in the fanny pack. They go, by the way, what's in the fanny pack? Oh, not much. I pulled out a pair of keys and something else. And I had a pair of underwear in there. And he said, what's the underwear for? I said, it's a short trip, just 3 days. And when Heather finally had her dress and she had the tears coming down, rolling down her face, I was like, just one thing. And I went to take off the fanny pack and put it on her, and Randy practically dove to stop me from making a grievous fashion assault. So it was a lot of fun, and we've known each other a long time.
I would have worn the fanny pack, but you did wear it to the wedding.
Well, I had it in my car, and I show up, I'm in slacks and a sports coat and a tie, and the showrunner goes, where's the fanny pack? And I was like, you want me to wear a fanny pack to the wedding? She goes, I think our fans want to see the fanny pack. So I was with Pack for sure.
You were. And I feel like I was the beginning of now you have wed some really incredible couples, most recently Josh and Nita Strauss.
I did, yeah. Anyone knows Nita Strauss, one of the most fantastic guitar players in the world. And I did Mia Yim and...
Savage Gentleman and Lady Frost?
Yeah, Savage Gentleman. So I've done, I think, 6 of them, 5 for friends, and 1 person made a generous charitable donation. So I've only done 6 of them. So, and I'm guessing there's not a soul here who showed up to hear me talking about being a wedding officiant.
You
were,
know.
okay. Were you the guys that gave me the wedding invite for January 25th? All right, I'll look carefully, okay? I don't know.
Well,
but I'll look carefully.
congratulations. That's so exciting. Well,
Yeah.
I think that the thing that they are all here to know, they want to know, of course, Mick, the big question, let's get out of the way. Did it hurt watching Al Snow wrestle?
Oh, ouch. Ouch.
I'm just...
Al has become such a respected elder in the wrestling community that it's not as much fun, but that doesn't mean we didn't have a fun at a different, we did a wrestling convention, and whenever someone would show up from Al's table, I would take a paint pen and make some sophomoric illustrations on Al's. Or I'd send someone over with a sign that said, give this good for one free Al Snow autograph, I really think people like to see guests having fun, and so I really enjoy these. Heather does a lot of conventions, and she can tell you they're not for everyone, and so it bothers me when I see someone who doesn't look like they want to be there, because I know you guys, when I say guys, I mean collectively men and women who choose to come here, right? It's not cheap. right? You have to make some choices. I think the least we can do is give you guys a good experience when you come to the table.
And you do, and I feel like that's your biggest blessing and curse is you will talk to everybody.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I'm sure everybody has stories and memories that they want to share with you, and it's wonderful that, you know, you are here and that you are receptive of these experiences. So, no, my favorite is I always see you, like, posting pictures of people that you've met at your table, and I feel like I've seen a lot of people from Elf, right? Is that like a common...
That's
one
one guy
Yeah.
one guy shows up as Buddy the Elf. And it was kind of cute when he was like 16, and now he's 27. And the last time I saw him was at Pensacon, and he was there because the actor who played Wanda, remember? So a little short elf history. If you look at the manager of the store where Buddy works, he's got a name tag that says Wanda because the role was supposed to go to Wanda Sykes. It's a little-known elf fact. And so this guy showed up, and he didn't mean it, but he was kind of hovering around the actor. And then I see him, he had tears in his eyes. I was like, what's up? He goes, they're making me leave. And I was like, he's harmless. He just loves being Buddy the Elf. You know, it was like they were throwing the real-life Buddy the Elf out. But he's the only guy who actually shows up as Buddy. Yeah, as Buddy. But I love seeing how people cosplay. And even if I don't know who their cosplaying are, I really enjoy it. It makes for such a great festive atmosphere. And it allows me to show up as a guest in sweatpants and a fanny pack. There you go.
So good.
There you go.
Love it.
That's right. Thank you.
So before we get to questions from the crowd, I wanted to ask you about SummerSlam and watching Dirty Dom turn on Rhea Ripley. How did you feel, Mick, watching that? I know, the collective from the crowd.
That son of a bitch. I don't usually curse, so that's...
No, that was your one, Mick.
That's my one. Hold on a second. Let me just...
Pause. He's just texting real quick, guys. No worries. Anything good? All right, hold. It's okay.
Okay. Honestly, I haven't been watching. I was not even aware that happened. But that's been one of my favorite storylines for the longest time. Sometimes it makes me feel good to know that I spotted something. Like you were just saying that you are, you know, one of your new roles is you're finding talent for different TV shows. And so it's always a good feeling when somebody you saw something in turns out to live up to, and in Rhea Ripley's case, surpass my expectations. Because I was like, I thought she would be a big star. I knew that they had to treat her special like she was a big star, but I never saw this level of, this is like, you know, this is megastar. So I want to see where they go with it, and I'm excited to find out, you know, because the last time I did one of those long-form videos, it was with all three faces of Foley and me as Mick Foley, like mourning the injury that she had suffered. So if you go to my, you know, I'm not here to send you guys to my Instagram site, but it's Real Mick Foley, and it's a good video. It's pinned, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, yeah. Especially if you want to hear Mankind sing Bridge Over Troubled Water, which, when you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Take it, Heather.
I only know the chorus.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Oh, no. I know we do normally sing together.
We have sung
never,
together, yeah.
Never
She's
that
a
song.
phenomenal singer. Phenomenal. Okay. Yep.
Appreciate you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
you want to go to some questions from the crowd?
Let's do some
Mick
questions,
Foley?
yeah.
All right. We do have a microphone for whatever questions you guys may have for Mick. Now is your opportunity. Let's do this.
Now, how
All
many
right.
questions do you think we can handle? And we
Let's
definitely
see.
want to see not just the super fans, if there's an inquisitive female, like and just like, all right, I don't know much about wrestling, but I'd like to ask a question. I try not to make anyone feel bad about a question, because you've seen me when I will go to a panel and ask a question, and it's pretty harrowing when you're waiting to be called on. It really is. Yeah.
Hey, you're up first. What's your name? What's your question?
Cool. So my name is Alex. What was it like working with Ric Flair and setting up that match at SummerSlam 2006?
Yeah.
Before and after.
Well, we did a match to set up the SummerSlam match. The 2 out of 3 where he beat me quickly, but I bludgeoned him in a big way. And so, you know, I was dealing with a lot of back issues And I had found out that when I would try to train hard for a match, I'd usually get hurt worse and end up in worse shape. So my cardio was really suspect, going into that match with Rick. And Rick's cardio is off the chart, always has been. He was almost superhuman in that way. So Rick, I think he worked around my weaknesses, and we had a really good match. We told a good story, and so it was really good to because there had been some bad blood in the past, and sometimes it's good to get out there, work out your problems in a WWE storyline, and that's what we did. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Hey, what's your name?
Gabriel.
Yes, January 25th.
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
If you switched it to WrestleMania week, I might be able to do it.
Yeah.
But I can't go out to Vegas in January and then come back in April.
All right. I just wanted to know if you're ever going to place.
Make it worth my while, financially speaking.
I got like $5. No, I just wanted to know if you're ever going to play Santa again.
First of all, I don't play Santa. I become him.
Okay.
Look, it's tough enough for one guy to circumnavigate the globe in a single evening. He can't be at every mall. He can't write every letter. He can't do every video. So he calls on people like me who are official ambassadors, and I love doing it. I'm going to tell you my favorite Dwayne Johnson memory, and I've got a lot of good memories. It actually took place about 10 days before Christmas. I'm lucky. I've done well in wrestling, and I'm not as legendarily thrifty as, rumor had it, and as I, was back in the day. So I'll spend some money to make what I think are the best Santa videos out there. And I've got lighting, and I've got editing, and I've got music, and I've got a great guy who puts this stuff together. So we sent the video with live reindeer. Trish got one. If you want to see Trish, you can ask Trish about the videos. I've been doing videos and letters for her for about 7 years. The Rock loves these videos. So I would say I send him the video. A video is about 3.5 minutes long, and 10 minutes later, I get a voice message from Dwayne that's about 3.5 minutes long, which meant as soon as I sent it, he watched it with his kids, sent over a voice message. And then I told my kids, I said, here, play this for Mom. And I was sitting on the couch, and I was looking in the bedroom, and I saw my 2 younger boys and my wife, and they were gathered around the phone. Even though you can't see it, they were looking at it and staring at it. And I heard Rock's voice, for those 3.5 minutes. And I was just like, what a great thing that, going back to 1999, we had that, hellacious I Quit match, and then all these years later, he's literally the biggest star in the world, and something that I do, a talent and a passion that I have, makes him, I'm pretty emotional, sensitive for a wrestler, but I get emotional. I get, when I think about things like that, giving back to people and having the honor of being part of their Christmas traditions, it's really, really special. So thanks for the question.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
Hey, what's your name?
My name's Adam. I have a question concerning more of my favorite match, Randy Orton at Backlash.
Yeah.
What was the, is there any story that's not been told about that entire match with Randy and you putting together the match and obviously Randy not having a very good day with the thumbtacks?
He did not. Well, my favorite memory there is, I still like people to read between the lines. I don't like to lay it out too black and white. But let's just say I had an idea, a premise, and he came up to my room the night before the match, and his eyes were wide. It was like you could see him just soaking everything up. And the most amazing thing to me is that match took place 20 years ago, and it's still my favorite match, and it's still his favorite match. And he's what, 15-time champion, right? He's
14.
had 14? Yeah. He's had hundreds of good to great matches on TV, and yet he feels like the one we had is the best. So I think that's just the unspoken part, is him coming up to my room so I could try to tell him what I saw. The biggest, the wild card and all that is Michael Hayes, hearing what we wanted to do, went to production and said, these guys need more time. Otherwise, it would have been rushed and it wouldn't have been nearly as effective. But I will tell you that he did. He went for the RKO. I don't know what kind of maneuver it was, but he ended up back first in the attacks. And then we went up the ramp. I threw him off the ramp and came off with the best elbow of my career. And that's something to do with the elbow I dropped, and also WWE production, just with the low angle shot, so it looked like I was sailing into people's living rooms. And while while Randy was laying amidst the wreckage, Mike Chioda, the referee, went to check on him, and Randy said, "Chioda, those thumbtacks were not a good idea." It's like, you can't explain the type of pain it is, you know, it's just, it's not a natural feeling. And he sold it to perfection because he wasn't selling anything. Like, he was in shock, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Juan.
Hello, Juan.
What is your favorite match that you wrestled in WCW, ECW, and WWE?
Ooh, a three-part question. Well, WWE's easy because that would be the match I had with Randy. WCW, I'd say, was Beach Blast against Sting, and Sting and I had some good ones, and he really put me on the North American, wrestling map as far as mainstream wrestling went. And in ECW, I think the last match I had there with Mikey Whipwreck, because keep in mind, the heel character that I did in ECW, it was effective. No one had gone after the fans like directly the way that I had. So the Cactus Jack shirt that I'm wearing now, like this shirt is now 29 years old. Not this particular one, this one's brand new. But it's been out there for 29 years and it's a classic. But we debuted it the day before my last match. We debuted it at the arena in Queens, but the arena wanted 50% of the money, and now you have so the arena is getting 50. In a sense, you're only getting 25% of your own product because you got money in it. So I sent my T-shirt guy down the line of people waiting to get in, and he came back about 15 minutes later. He hadn't sold a single shirt, but he had like loogies hanging off him. He was like, "They hate you here." And which is what you want when you're a heel and you worked hard to get that reaction. But then I was thinking it would be nice, Philadelphia the last night, it would be nice if there was a little bit of love in the air. And I wasn't prepared for it. I really wasn't. I got in the ring and that entire place was chanting my name. Mikey and I had a really good match. The Blue Meanie and I and Stevie Richards strutted out of the ECW arena. So that was my favorite there. So Sting in WCW, Mikey in ECW, and the Randy Orton match in WWE. So TNA, no, he doesn't get a fourth question. But I had some good matches there. I think I did okay there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you got it.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Michael. I just have a question. How did you land a role as the boulder? And what did you do to prepare as the boulder?
How many of you are aware that I was the boulder? How many of you know Avatar, The Last Airbender? Yeah, I got to tell you, I've done a bunch of voice acting things, and I don't really have great voices. I do a pretty good Terry Funk, a pretty good Stallone, a pretty good Mr. McMahon. My Vince McMahon's pretty good. But I don't have a lot of places to go voice-wise. So I was like, okay, I see this thing, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to... They didn't even have the character drawn out yet. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just basically be Jesse Ventura rolling my final consonant sound a little longer. And so I would go, the boulder is conflicted about fighting. That was all it was. And I have no idea what I'm doing. It's a small role, I do it. And it's only like 5 years later where I was like, this thing's pretty big. And so a few weeks ago, Toph and I did a panel. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And I would say 20% of the memorabilia I signed was from her table that people were bringing over to me to have signed as the boulder. So it feels good that I was part of something that meant so much to people. And I remember, being on an airplane, and a girl was with her dad, and she was watching Avatar on the TV screen on Delta. So I always check with Dad. I said, hey, is it okay if I say something? And he said, sure. And I said, I saw you watching Avatar. And she goes, yeah. I said, did you know that I was the voice of the boulder? And she went, really? And I went, the boulder is conflicted. And her eyes lit up like I was a huge deal. And if I told her I defeated Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson twice, she wouldn't have cared. With the fact that I was the boulder, yeah, that was pretty cool. I've been lucky. I've done a handful of things that on paper didn't seem to be a big deal that turned out to be really special, with the Peanut Butter Falcon, the movie, being one of them. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It'll make you feel great. It hits you and touches you in a way that is unlike any other movie I've seen.
It's on Netflix now.
It's on Netflix
Yeah.
now, and it's really good. It'll make you feel good.
Thank you.
Hey, what's your name?
Hey, Mick. My name is Rafael. I just have a question for you about putting your body through such extreme situations. It's been equally scary to see that and also really entertaining. But I'm just curious, did you have that in you from the very beginning, or was there like a particular experience that motivate you to push yourself to such extremes?
This is where I'm going to get real with all of you in a way you may not have expected. I'm not a naturally gifted athlete. So two things. I'm not a naturally gifted athlete. I did not have the body that wrestling was looking for. Nobody was like, get a hold of like a 235-pound guy who's both thin and kind of flabby, like, let me get a guy whose hips are wider than his shoulders. Like, that's not a good look for a wrestler. But I like the wild style of wrestling. And I thought that I had a pretty high tolerance for pain. And also I saw Bruiser Brody, who was one of my favorite wrestlers, brawling wrestlers, and Dynamite Kid, who was one of the great technical and flying wrestlers. And I thought, what if I created kind of like a hybrid style? So I take some of what Brody did as a brawler and incorporate Dynamite Kid's willingness to launch his own body as a weapon. I thought I might be onto something. And I was. And as time went by, you find your way to put your own stamp on things. You get enough reps in doing promos, and it becomes second nature. And so that worked for me. But, like I said, nobody was on the surface was looking for what I had. And I'm really happy that, people out there saw the difference and was like, I don't care that those other guys look like they're carved out of marble. Like, I like watching what this guy does. And it made a huge difference. And this is not to knock anybody who was seen as being a big star, but Heather's been in a lot of these things where the guys who were supposed to be the next big thing and who were a big thing come to these conventions, and they don't get the same type of interactions because they didn't touch people on the same type of level. So I had to, out of necessity, find ways to connect with all of you that didn't, incorporate like having a great physique. So it turned out to be a blessing. At the time, it seemed like a curse. Turned out to be the best thing that could happen to me, though. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks,
Thank
Mick.
you.
Hey, what's your name?
My name's Adrian. Anyone on the WWE main roster, who would you referee or wrestle?
Who would I referee or wrestle? Okay, let me see. Let me think. I love what Damian Priest is doing. Brother, would I teach Dirty Dom a lesson in respect if I had a chance? Man, that would be fun to do. I always thought Kevin Owens would be a great guy. I saw what he did with Austin, and I was like, wow, that was amazing. And like just the fact that he described the terrain of Texas as being flat and uninspiring. How many of you have driven through the entire state of Texas? It's flat and uninspiring, I got to tell you, for the most part. Yeah, every once in a while you'll run into a nice area, but they're few and... Anyone from Texas here? Nobody's recording this, are they? Okay, okay, all right. If you insult Texas, you suddenly find it hard to make a living in the United States. So yeah, put that down. Put it down, brother. Okay, there you go. But I think he's a great baby face, a great heel. I mean, there's no shortage of really good people to work with if I had that chance.
Thank you.
Thank you, my man.
Hey, what's your name?
Leanna.
Hello, Leanna. How are you?
Good, how are you?
What does your notebook say?
Erotic friend fiction. It's from Bob's Burgers. It's a cartoon.
From Bob the Builder?
Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers.
Bob's
Okay.
Burgers.
There wasn't any Bob the Builder episodes I saw.
Going back to Rhea Ripley being a superstar,
Yeah.
how do you feel about her being compared to China?
Ooh, I think it's very apt. I mean, Becky Lynch did such an amazing job, with the man character, and she was so giving, like making it a point to try to put other people on the map. And now for Rhea to come around with this thing they did with Judgment Day, it was just incredible. I think that's a really good, I'm imagining Rhea takes that as a big compliment. And I knew Joni pretty well, I think she would be really happy to see what Rhea's done with that character, and what a difference she's made for women's wrestling. Good question.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you.
Hey,
there.
what's your name?
Hello. Hello.
How you doing there?
Hey, my name is Chris. How's it going?
Good, Chris.
Huge fan. You're my favorite of all time.
Thank you.
I had a dream one time. I met you at a grocery store,
Okay.
and you gave me a hug, and I woke up, and it was really nice. So I think of that.
You've been reading too much erotic friend fiction, I believe.
Well, I'm also a big fan of Darby Allin, another guy who's running around crashing and hurting himself. I wonder if you've ever talked to him, warned him, maybe you should. Or
Darby was on a lot of the independent shows with Northeast Championship Wrestling. That was is still one of the best indies in the Northeast. And he was such a shy, unassuming kid. And I really hadn't seen that much of him until we did. I mean, because honestly, I would probably bail out, at intermission. Like, I just saw him as this young man who was shy. And then we did a show at Six Flags Great Adventure where Moxley was going to wrestle him. And he was like, man, this kid can do anything, And I watched that match, and yeah, he can do anything. And I think he's fearless, I think he's fearless. He did a great job as Sting's goth kid. I think that was really good.
Yeah.
And he's just, he's a good young man, and I'm glad he's doing well. But, almost everyone who makes their name doing wild stuff should find a way to segue into, like find a gear to shift into so that doesn't define who you are. I love Sabu. But Sabu was still going through tables in his 50s. It's like, no, you got to find a way. He was so true to his character that he would not go out. He wouldn't do promos. He wouldn't let fans catch him, like hanging out, talking. And I think that hurt him because he wasn't able to find another way to shift gears. So that's my concern for Darby, is that for the sake of his longevity and long-term health, that he find a way to shift gears a little bit as he ages. But he's a good young man. All right, we'll see you later.
Hey, what's your name?
Hey, Mick. My name's Calvin. It's probably the first non-wrestling question.
All right, let me hear it.
So my question is, if you were to choose one super ability, would you rather choose super strength or super speed?
I was thinking super love. I'd like to.
That's perfect.
I
love
think
that answer.
what the world needs now is love. Due to love.
Nice.
Perfect. Super strength or super speed? If you had the super speed, you wouldn't need to display the super strength, right?
Yeah.
Is that true, right? Okay. But then again, if you had super strength, you wouldn't have to run anywhere. It's, it's
a little bit more difficult now.
Yeah,
Think about
all
it.
right. Because if I had a superpower when I was a wrestler, it'd be the ability to absorb punishment. And I don't recommend that to anyone. It might seem cool when you're in the ring. It's not cool the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of the day. So I still think love's the greatest power of them all.
love.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Mick.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Liz.
Hi, Liz. It was nice talking to you earlier
Yes.
at the table. Thank you for visiting. By the way, when we're done here, I'll be back at the table for like 30 minutes before we leave for the day. So if some of you have a question and get to it, or you want to buy something and make a good day even better, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad way to end off the day, right?
Do the
little
conga
Foley
line.
smile. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this
Favorite
is
Beatles song? What is it?
I know it, but it's an old song. I can't sing it, but
Well, they're all technically 50,
no, it's an old
54
song.
years old or more.
Your favorite Beatles song?
Well, it's hard to go wrong with "Let It Be." It's just a beautiful
Oh,
song.
yeah, Let It Be.
But like, I like some of the songs. Rocky Raccoon,
That's my favorite.
Blackbird. Yeah, a couple of those from the White Album. I used "Helter Skelter" as my song when I was in a World Class Championship Wrestling. But I'm a big Beatles fan.
So my question to you is, are you writing a book? And if you're not, what genre would you write?
Well, I'm not currently writing a book. The last book I wrote, which will go down, I think, is the best dad gift ever, is I did a limited edition, 25 copies was the smallest I could do. I was able to do it in the nicest leather binding with the best paper and full color photos. I did a 150,000 word memoir as a dad. It's just so my kids would have all these stories, because some of them, they don't remember them like I do, and then once I'm gone, the stories kind of cease to exist. So I spent a lot longer than I ever worked on any other book, and my kids knew I was working on something, but they thought it was going to be like about that thick, and it comes out, it was this thick, and it was, I'm really proud of it. I don't have plans to write anything else, but every time I've ever written, I haven't planned on it. I have an idea, and not to sound too artsy, but you kind of wait until you can't stop thinking of anything but that idea, and then you write it down. So you never know. There might be another one.
I'm hoping.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. We'll see you later.
All right, we got about 10 minutes left. Go ahead. What's your question?
I never asked you this. I had to do this.
Okay.
I'm too short to this. I'm too tall. My question to you, I never asked you this before, but I know everybody would not understand it. In that wrestling you do all the time, why you use the sock, put that in somebody's mouth?
Why do I use the sock?
Put it in somebody's mouth.
And I have to tell this entire story within a few minutes? All right.
I didn't understand that. That's why I'm wondering.
I'm gonna give you the bare bones version, which is I was heading to the hospital to cheer up Mr. McMahon, who was hooked up to a heart monitor and a respirator for a bruised ankle.
By The Rock.
Well, no, The Rock
No,
wasn't.
not The Rock, I mean the other guy.
Steve Austin. He was there too. And we just needed, the idea was there was very little scripting at that time. I needed to go into the hospital and get thrown out by Mr. McMahon. And I felt like I needed one more bad gift. And Al Snow said, what about a sock puppet? And I went, a sock puppet? He said, yeah, everyone hates a sock puppet. And I unveiled the sock puppet. I didn't even think it was that big a deal. I thought Steve Austin was ribbing me the next day when he was telling me how funny it was, because I didn't think it was all that good. And then Vince Russo comes running up to me. He's like, bro, you got the sock. He was the head writer at the time. I was like, I don't know. Well, why? He goes, bro, I'm telling you, they're chanting his name out there. They've got signs. And it was crazy because Detroit's kind of a tough town, Joe Louis Arena. And they were grown men, chanting Sacco's name. And because I had used the mandible claw for 2 years as my finish, it just made sense to do it with a sock on my hand. So there you go.
Smart.
Okay, one more question.
We have to go to the next question.
I know. That's a next one.
Oh, he is overruling you.
I see that.
No, wait.
Tension at the con.
I'm going to reason why.
All right, let me hear it.
But I wonder about this one. I know you always talk about your kids, but I wonder, my question is, how many children you have? Was two boys with 3 girls, or?
That I know about?
In your lifetime.
I have 4 children. 4 children, 2 dogs. Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
got it.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, going back to the Mr. Sacco, you should start having those again at your table.
I know. Sometimes I bring
Yes.
them. Yeah. Sometimes
And then I know
bring
you
'em.
also do.
And look
Yeah.
at there
Aw.
is lamb chop. Yeah. Yeah. They're close.
Hey, what's your
All
name?
right.
Hi, my name is Clarence.
Hello, Clarence.
Hi. The question is, do you still talk to Vince, and what's your relationship with him now?
Man, no, I haven't talked to Vince since all this stuff went down. I did, when it initially went down, first round, I sent him a text message just thanking him for everything he'd done. He said he appreciated it. And then there's some guy out there who has the new number. And he's got to be astounded by how many people reached out to him and thinking he was Vince McMahon. So the number I had doesn't work. I do want to write him a letter because I think letters are really effective, just thanking him for everything he's done. I talked to his grandson. I saw Shane O'Mac's son at a Indiana University women's basketball game, and we talked about it. It's just a terrible situation, you know. He did a lot of good for a lot of people, and I don't know. I don't know what to say. You know, there's part of me that hopes it was just some weird consensual thing that got out of hand. I don't know. You know, the courts can decide that, and jurors and all that. But I wouldn't be here today without Vince. That's for sure. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here.
I got 2 words for you. Thank you.
Hey, let me tell you a quick story. If I can. Wait, hold on. Come on up here. So he's got the DX thing, right? So in 1999, I'm at Disneyland with my family, and you know how there are face characters like Snow White and Cinderella that can talk, and other characters that don't talk. So they have to express themselves physically. So my wife goes to me and goes, Mick, this might sound strange, but I think Pooh Bear is trying to communicate with you. And I look over at Pooh Bear, and he's trying to talk, but he's a character that doesn't talk. And finally, this is Winnie the Pooh, the cuddly little cub all stuffed with fluff. Pooh Bear at Disneyland goes like this to me. He gave me the crotch chop, yeah. So.
I like thinking that's how Pooh Bear now communicates, doing DX. I love it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
Hey, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Devin. Huge honor, Mick. Huge honor.
Thank you, Devin.
So I only heard about this story, but I don't know how much of it is true. Essentially, you were on the road with Steve Austin and Diamond Dallas Page,
Yeah.
and there was a thing you did where you stuffed his bed full of baked cookies.
Yeah, we did. And you want me to extrapolate on that?
Just
Well,
Cliff Notes.
this is like 1994, and it's a couple-week trip. And I don't know if this speaks well of me or Steve, but we both set out on the trip with the idea of psychologically cracking Diamond Dallas Page. And I was like, how long, you know, he was like, kid, I think we can crack him in a week. I said, Steve, I think we can crack him in one day. And so it's funny, like I pick up Steve, and I got Dallas, and we're driving, and Steve leads off, and going, yeah, I told he goes, my old lady wanted me to pick up some antiques while I was on the road. And Dallas goes, what did you tell her? I told her I picked up DDP at the airport. And just by the end of the day, he was ready to go. I don't have time to do the story justice, but the funny thing was, you know, you get used to people's idiosyncrasies and you learn to tolerate them. There's idiosyncrasies and then there's problems. And when you're 3 guys tripling up in a Super 8 and one of the guys in the room doesn't believe in wearing clothes, that's a problem, right? Yeah. And so he would wrap his knees in, saran wrap. So he claimed it lubricated the joints. And then he goes in to take a shower. And when he comes out of the bathroom, it's pitch dark because he would also pin the blinds to the wall, like he didn't want any light coming or whatever. And Steve and I had loaded up his cot with like 4 or 5 dozen chocolate chip cookies. And you can't see him in the pitch dark, but you can hear him crinkling, and he's going, and he finally laid down, and it took him about 30 seconds to realize he was not alone in that bed. And brother, he let those F-bombs fly. And the funny thing was, like, he threw a tantrum on me, right? He carried all of those cookies over, and he started like throwing them on my body, and he was jumping up and down on me, and he was throwing all the F-bombs. There, how do you like it? How do you like it? How do you like it when someone throws effing cookies in your effing bed? And he actually waited for me to reply, and I go, you know, Dallas, it's not so much the cookies I mind as it is your naked ass rubbing all over me. And then Steve and I heard him get up, and it was like the loneliest walk over to the corner of the room. He went with the crinkling, and he laid down in bed, and after about a minute of silence, he goes, tomorrow night, get in my own effing room. One day, and we cracked him, yeah.
Thanks, man.
Bang!
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
All right, we got a couple minutes left. We'll try to rapid fire through the rest. Go ahead, what's your name?
Kat, hi.
Hello, Kat.
So you've always been known as like the man without fear, like willing to do anything at all. But I mean, we are people. We do feel some fear, especially when we're about to do something that we know is just maybe not the best idea. How do you push through that every single time?
Well, I had fear, you know, like, you know, there are people, like Shane McMahon, I think is fearless. Like, I was scared a lot, you know. Like, I was scared when I was up on top of the cell with The Undertaker. I was terrified, you know. You know, I guess action in the face of fear would be courage. So I'm not fearless, but I am courageous. I don't know. I had things that I had ways I wanted people to feel, you know, and I played to my strengths, and I liked those matches. I liked those moves that made people wonder, like, what's the loophole? I don't see the loophole. Like, how did he do that? And the basic answer was, if it looked like it hurt, it's because it hurt, you know? And that seemed like a good idea when I was 22. And then that stuff started getting harder and harder to pull off. And that's why, going back to talking about shifting gears, and you find a way to connect with people that doesn't involve just putting your body on the line every single night.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for your question.
You inspired a generation.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
All right, we probably only have time for one or two more questions.
Two questions.
All right, go ahead.
Two questions.
Hi, my name is
And
CJ.
then, if anyone else, seriously, with no pressure on buying, although make really clear, I do want you to buy something, but you don't have to. But if you want to come over and have questions, we got about 30 minutes left at the table. All right, two questions.
My name is CJ. My question to you is, you had a experienced hardcore legend, like any hardcore matches with Edge. Did you help him with his career?
Did it help him?
Yeah, did it help him?
He thinks it did, yeah. And then, like, one of the cool thing is Lita's here, and Lita was such a big part of that match. You know, I mean, I always try to look out for the people I'm working with, but that night the idea was, you know, we can't, obviously, I'm not going to want to hit Lita, but we can get her involved physically if the intention isn't there. So the idea was she was going to jump on my back, and then I was going to clothesline Edge over the top rope, doing the cactus clothesline where I go too. We made it clear to Amy, Lita, I was like, I can't guarantee your safety. Like, if you want to do this, you don't have to do it. But if you want to do it, it's completely on you to bail out when the time is right. And then even as the match was taking place and we did it, it felt perfect. And when I watched it back, it looked even better than I could have hoped for. And then she was such a big part of the finish to that match. And it gave Edge, like, you know, it gave him another layer of attitude. And so I think it was really good for him. It was really good for me because that was the night that I got that magic WrestleMania moment that had been lacking. So it was a good one.
All right, thanks, man.
You got it, buddy.
All right, final question, then we're going to take a big group picture if that's
All
okay
right,
with you.
sounds good to me.
All right, go ahead.
Name's Edward. Just want to know your opinion about how promos are cut nowadays, from when you first started to now.
Well, no, I don't know. Like, I don't know what AEW does for their promos. You know, I do think WWE went through a period where they were entirely too scripted and too produced, and you had like a whole generation of people coming up reciting things instead of feeling them. But even while that was going on, you had your 3 or 4 guys with Bray Wyatt and different guys who could cut these amazing promos. I still think there's always going to be a spot for guys who can cut promos from the heart. But even the guys who cut promos from the heart needed a little direction, or else they'd tend to go out there and say things that were not productive to promoting the match. So, you know, I took a lot of pride in being that guy who could cut the promos from the heart. But I was always better off for someone hearing what I had to say and then giving me feedback on it. So I was lucky that I grew up in that era where you'd go into the CNN Center and you would do 50 to 100 promos a week, and they just go, okay, Birmingham, Alabama, 2 weeks from day, 1 minute. And you do, you got to find a beginning, a middle, an end, finish right on cue, and you just get used to doing it so that the hundreds come into the thousands, and now you've got thousands of repetitions, and that's an advantage that most wrestlers today just don't have. So I'm lucky I came up in the environment that I did. I still think there's always going to be room for guys who can cut those promos, but you also have to have a little bit of direction to them.
All right, thank you.
Sound good? All right. Thank you. All right.